The Powers Project.
Dear David Archuleta, how you doing there, young man? I um I came across a couple of videos that you did here in the past couple weeks, and I wanted to talk to you heart to heart, and I hope this message finds you. I truly do. Um, you had your one video where you were talking to people who were in the LGBT community, and you were telling them that God loved them, and that they're accepted, and to love themselves. And then on the next video that I'd seen, you were struggling, and I think you know that the words that you're saying are true, but I don't know that you've taken them to heart yet. And it was I was touched to the point where I felt like I wanted to talk to you and let you know that the things that you were telling people are true, and now you need to take it to heart yourself and understand that God loves you. I wanted to address some of the things that you addressed in your video, talking about being gay and part of the LDS church. You had mentioned that the church has adjusted its views somewhat, and it's nice to see that they're doing that because they, quite frankly, have needed to for quite some time. Um, but there's some things that they're sending mixed messages that aren't resonating with you because they're not true, and you know they're not true, and they know it's not true. And so I wanted to touch on these things so that you can get past these things, because instead of putting your faith and trust in man, put it into God. If God's telling you, as you said, this is okay, quit asking me to change you. um that's who you should be listening to, not people who are telling you you need to change, because we'll go over that. Okay. Um so first off, they say it's okay to be attracted to same sex, just don't go too far with it. And this is what I would say to them. So what you're saying is, okay, you can be gay as long as you're not, don't do anything gay. And so how's that fall into the message that you give your members, where you say the way you are here on earth is the way you will be after life, and whether it's the celestial kingdom, terrestrial, telestial kingdom, whatever you happen to be in, that's who you're going to be. So how do you think someone could ever feel like they were in heaven if they couldn't be who they are? If they're gay and they're not allowed to be gay in the celestial kingdom, and so, okay, I didn't do anything gay, so I can make it to the celestial kingdom, I'm here. But how's that person supposed to be happy? They're still going to have the same sex attraction according to your teachings. They're going to have the same sex attraction that they had when they were here on earth, because that's who they are. And David, I know that you don't believe God makes mistakes, and he doesn't. So there's a reason why he made you gay. And for you people out there who keep insisting that this is a choice, let me assure you that there's nobody, especially in the LDS church, who would ever make this a choice. Why would you ever make a choice to be ostracized and to be condemned? And I'm not saying that the church itself is that harsh as far as what they have to say, because I know that they tend to be loving in their condemnation, but still it's condemnation. Why would anyone want to be part of that? And when did you choose to be straight? Did you have a choice to be gay but you chose to be straight? That's nonsense. So let's just put that to bed once and for all. No one would make that choice, and it's not a choice. David didn't make that choice. I didn't make that choice. It's who we are. Get past it. Okay. So if you're not going to be happy If it's who we are, if being gay is who we are, how are we ever going to be happy in the celestial kingdom? You're not. So that doesn't make any sense at all, not according to the teachings of the church. You know, you've tried to overcome your desires your whole life, just like I did. I put myself in danger, physical health in danger, because I fasted for so long, well, not just without food, but without water. I prayed, and I remember thinking, if there was if there was one pill that in the world that could make you straight, I don't care if it cost $1 million. I would find a way to get that pill and take it, because I wanted to be anything other than gay. I wanted to be like my friends. I wanted to be like everyone who I knew. I didn't want to be different like that. And and so I understand the struggle that you've gone through. And for people to say that you haven't done enough, well, maybe you need to fast more. It's like, how much longer should I fast? Should I fast till I die? You know? And I know that that's a question that you had, Dave, that you kept asking yourself, am I better off not being here? And that the answer to that is no, you definitely need to be here. You you have a purpose on this planet, and I think you're fulfilling that purpose now. And I think as you become more comfortable with it, the amount of people that you're going to help it's going to be just enormous. And I think you need to understand that. I hope you'll understand that. And I want to do my best not to tell you what to do, but maybe help guide you, um, to show you just what I think God has in plan for you. Not because I speak for him or think or that him and I have even talked lately, but but because I see I see you for who you are. You're this amazing young man who has a heart of gold and uh, and a beautiful voice. And that talent, along with your heart, will affect a lot of people in a positive way. And if you weren't here, there'd be a lot of people who would miss out. And I want you to keep that in mind, okay? I've I've felt the same guilt and anger that you have, and all I can tell you is that I had to go through what I call a trial by fire to come to the point where I realized who I really am and accept that. And when you said that, you know, God talked to you and said, quit asking me that, I had him talk to me. Now, I know a lot of people on here are going to go, I thought you didn't believe in God. And to be honest with you, I'm confused on this sometimes because I've had experiences, you know, obviously that I cannot deny. And one of them was I had gotten off the phone with my friend who had been a friend since I was a kid, and she couldn't accept the fact that I was gay. And I remember getting off the phone with her, and I remember feeling at peace. Like I remember the day I came out, I felt like the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders. And I remember being at peace. And I also remember being taught in the church that if it's of God, you'll feel peace and comfort. And if it's not, then you'll feel confusion. And I realized all these years I've been confused, and that I felt confusion. I felt anger. That wasn't of God, because and then and this is what happened. So right after that, I remember thinking, God, why didn't you change me? And I heard a voice as clear as day. And people can think you're crazy or I'm crazy, whatever. And he said, did it ever occur to you I didn't want you changed? I I should have said, nope, obviously didn't, because I had everyone telling me you're supposed to change. All these years, I hid in the closet simply because of what we were taught. I was so afraid that the people who knew me, that if they ever found out who I really was, they would abandon me. They would no longer love me. I felt like there were so many people who depended on me and held me on this pedestal, if you will, that I was, they always thought, oh, Kurt, he's such a great guy. And I thought if they knew the true me, they would be so heartbroken and disappointed that I would let everyone down. And I couldn't do that. So, David, I know the struggles you've gone through. And I know the struggle that you're continuing to go through. But I'm here to tell you, if you believe the words that you've told others and you believe in yourself and love yourself, and this is the key, you've got to love yourself for you, no one else. You can't live your life for other people. That's what I did. I lived the first half of my life for other people, and I refuse to do that anymore. And since I've started living my life for myself, I have never been happier in my life. I have never had more peace in my life. I know that's going to be a struggle for a lot of LDS members and leaders, that they're not going to understand how that happens. All I can tell you is that you guys got it wrong. You got it wrong. You're missing something. If you're the true church here on the earth and you believe that, you need to go back and you need to figure out where you got this wrong. Because the advice that you've been giving people like myself and David, like, oh, well, just date girls, it'll go away. Oh, just marry a woman, it'll go away. No, it doesn't. And your bad advice now doesn't just affect us, it affects other people who have nothing to do with this. Imagine an innocent woman who comes into a relationship and marries a man who's gay but doesn't know it. What does that do to her? What does that do to her family? What does that do to children when you have children? Because this comes out sooner or later, unless the man is willing to die with this secret. And is that really what the life that person's supposed to live? Is that what you're suggesting? Because I knew a man like that. I knew a man who was 65 years old, and when I told him about my coming out and how and what relief I felt and how the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders, he said, I don't care. He goes, until my mother dies, I will never come out of the closet. Now his mother was in her in her mid to late 80s. Unfortunately, later that year he died. He never got to be who he was supposed to be because of the belief that somehow being gay is wrong, that it's an abomination. I'm here to tell you it's anything other than that. You know, you can't pretend to yourself or to the Lord who you are. He knows who you are. You know who you are. And no matter what man says and tells you what to do, they're wrong. I know I already said that, but I need to reiterate that they are wrong. Unlike you, I never thought about letting God down because he knew I was trying to do everything I could to become straight. Like I said, putting my own health at risk, to where I fasted so many days with no food, no water, no nothing, that I was probably naive to think that it wouldn't be dangerous. Now, fortunately for me, I was okay. But when I look back, I go, wow, that was not the smartest thing to do, But that's what you're told. The bishop tells you. fast and pray. So, what happens, Bishop, when you fast and pray and your prayers aren't answered? Are you going to tell them that, oh, they're not praying hard enough? They're not fasting enough? They're not tithing enough? And when we do finally hear that voice that tells us that he loves us and that it's okay, that's what I want it for you, are you going to seriously suggest that's the voice of Satan when you finally feel peace? Because that goes contrary to what you teach people. I wrote some notes down, so because I wanted to touch on a few things, because David, I want you to know that you are loved, and I know you know this because you have thousands, if not millions, of fans out there who love you, who appreciate you, and don't care if you're gay or not. And even those who do care about you, who care about you being gay, I know they think they have their best intentions are there, and that, you know, and trying to help you. But I want to talk to those people, to the family and friends, to the LDS leaders and members. You're not helping because you don't know what you're talking about. It comes down to that. You can't possibly know because you're not gay and you don't know what it means to go through it. So you can make these assumptions that, oh, David chose this, or I chose this, or that we just need to just hang in there a little longer and God will answer our prayers. He has answered our prayers, just not the way you think he answered them, the way you think he should answer them. But he doesn't. See, that's the thing about God. If you believe in him, he doesn't answer to you. You're supposed to answer to him. I've answered to him. David, you've answered to him. He has given you his answer, plain and clear as day to you. Why would you doubt him? Why would you doubt if he told you, quit asking me this, David, and then continue believing people who are flawed? Because I know you want to do the right thing, because that's who you are. I don't know. I mean, I don't know you personally, but what I've known of you since I've seen you on American Idol, I don't know if I've ever seen a more genuinely caring, loving person um, in my life. And I know, again, I don't know you personally, but I know that you're a genuine person, and I know you've always wanted to do the right things by church and by God. That's why you went on a mission instead of pursuing your music career, which most people probably would have done. Um, so I'm going to say this for you, David, and for everybody else out there, LDS members and leaders. Rethink your position on this. Give it a lot of thought. And how about this? How about you pray about it? How about you fast about it and see what your answer is? Ask yourself this: if being gay is an abomination, why is homosexuality found in over 1,000 different species? Now, you can say, well, they're not human. No, they're not. It's nature. And whether you think about it like this or not, I've always thought about homosexuality may be a way to curtail overpopulation. It's part of nature. So instead of listening to or reading scriptures that we know for a fact. Because remember this, you say in the Mormon religion that you believe in the Bible as far as it's translated correctly, and you use the King James Version. And here's the thing, it's not translated correctly. So I think if you went back and looked at the translations, you would find a different story than what's being told. Maybe homosexuality was something that, if you look at it as the Bible as a history book, that it was something that was frowned upon because they needed to populate the earth and at that time. And so it was frowned upon. Sort of like, don't eat pork because pork is a bad meat. Back in that day, it probably was, but it doesn't relate to today, does it? Sometimes things are in context as for that time, and we tend to take it out of context and go, oh well, don't be gay. It said don't be gay then, so you can't be gay now. Think about these things. I mean, I know you think, oh, that's a stupid, question, but think about it. What's it going to hurt if you actually ask the question and give it some thought? You might come out with a new realization or a different perspective on this. Because I'm going to tell you something. And David, I hope you don't get upset about this, but that last video I saw David talking about being gay in the LDS church was a cry for help. He's hurting. And I don't want to see us lose one more person because of the doctrine that you're teaching people. Because that blood, whether you like this or not, is on your hands. I know that you want to be compassionate towards people who are gay, but it's not enough to just be tolerant of them. Telling people they're going to go to hell, or they're never going to make it to the celestial kingdom, or that they can't have a temple marriage, or these sort of things, as if they're less than. Can you imagine if that was ever said to you for any reason? And do you believe that a loving God, a loving Heavenly Father, would condemn someone to the lowest kingdom or to hell, whatever your belief may be, your religion? Do you honestly believe that if He loved you, that He would condemn you to hell just simply because you love someone of the same sex? Does that make any sense whatsoever? Because it doesn't to me. Imagine this. Imagine a father here on this earth who told his son, I'm done with you. Get out of my house and don't ever come back. Would you really think that that was a father who loved his kid? Do you think he would get Father of the Year? And you think Heavenly Father, who loves us unconditionally, is going to condemn us simply because we love? But if you're in a straight marriage, you could not stand each other, but you'll still get to heaven because, oh, you're straight. I'm sorry, folks, but again, if you're not gay, you don't know what you're talking about. And instead of acting like you do know what you're talking about, maybe you should ask those who are gay and find out firsthand what it's like and what it means. And then do some praying yourself and ask God to open your eyes instead of just assuming you already have the answers. Because, like I said 2 or 3 times already, you've got it wrong. So, David, Young man, I wish the best for you. Listen to your God. Do not listen to people. He gave you your answer. And I can tell you right now, if you were to take your life, what would you say to him when he said, David, I told you to stop asking me. I gave you I gave you the answer that you were looking for, that you wanted to answer, and I gave it to you, and you didn't listen to it. So the main reason why I was going to do this to begin with when I first saw your video, and then I was like, no, I'll just refrain from doing it because I don't know if it will get to you or not. But then I saw that you canceled your okay, it's all right tour, and I know why you did, and I know it may have something to do with your voice, but I know it has a lot more to do with this because it's not okay right now for you, and I want it to be okay. But you've got to get there and you've got to allow yourself to be okay. And you've got to allow yourself to love yourself for you, nobody else. And David, you can't lie. You have to be honest with yourself. Know that you're okay with being gay and know that it's okay, regardless of what the church teaches. The church is not perfect. The church is not 100% correct. God is. So, somewhere along the messaging there, something got messed up. And you can believe that or not, but if you don't believe it, then you don't believe what God told you. And I think you do. You're just looking for someone to tell you to accept it. And you don't need anyone to tell you to accept it. You just need God to tell you. He told you. Here it is. It wasn't an imagined voice. You know that you heard him speak to you. So I want you to, I hope for your sake, love yourself fully and accept yourself fully. And once you do that, you will feel the weight of the world lifted off your shoulders. And you'll know without a doubt that you did the right thing. Then I want to be one of the people at your concert at that It's Okay, It's All Right tour. I want to be there and see you and know that the words that you're speaking are correct. It's okay. It's all right. And it does get better. I promise you. So I don't know what else to say. I'll probably end up ending this and then go, I wanted to say that too. So, but I think this is enough. And I hope you take it with the spirit that it was meant. And and I do hope you get to hear it. And I hope it has some positive bearing on the direction that you take in the future. So thank you for your time. And folks, for anybody else who's listening to this, please consider everybody in your life, consider their feelings before you just lash out at people, before you say things that are inconsiderate or unthoughtful. Like, sometimes you just don't need to say things. And trust me, I know I've said more than my fair share of things that didn't need to be said, given my opinions where they weren't needed. But that doesn't mean that we can't do better and make sure that we do less of that and be more thoughtful before giving people our opinions or even feeling the need to give them our opinion, especially when it's about things we know nothing about. Okay. So, anyway, thank you, David. Best of luck there, young man. I'll be rooting for you and I'll be looking forward to attending your concert when you come to Orlando. So make sure you come to Orlando so I can see you. All right. Until then, people, thank you. Take care, be safe, and love yourself so you can love others. Bye.